Welcome back, everyone. I'm teacher Nathan from Writers at Work, and this afternoon we'll be looking at some Primary 6 prelim papers from 2024. This afternoon we'll look at Nanyang Primary School P6 prelim and understand what are the latest trends and the important questions and tricks that we need to know before our examinations. Okay? So come, let's join me today as we delve deeper into our paper from Nanyang Primary School today. Now, looking at our grammar section first. The first question reads, Andrew prefers to have his dinner earlier, dash he. So over here, we are interested in what we call a question tag question. Okay. Now, the key word that we need to take note is prefers, because this is in the present tense. As such, when we look at the options, there is has and does. The only option that satisfies this question here, because it's present tense, is does or doesn't. We will not consider has or hasn't. Okay. Now you can see when he prefer, that means he does prefer something, positive connotation. So at the back we need a negative connotation, which means my answer would be number 4. Doesn't he? Now some of you may be asking me, why not has? Well, because has to go with the word preferred. And this is in the present perfect form, which means my action is completed, but effect still felt. For example, I can say that I have read the newspaper and want to know more. So similarly, in this present perfect tense, I'm trying to convey that the act of reading the newspaper is completed, but the curiosity is still being felt. That's why I say I want to know more. Okay? Now let's move on further to question 2. Neither of the girls dash looking forward to the grueling 5-kilometer run next Sunday. Now, first thing we observe is the word. Okay, first thing we take note is the question type. So this question is a subject-verb agreement kind of question. Next, we observe the word is neither, which means 0. Therefore, we will use a singular, we consider this a singular subject. Next, we look at this future event. Therefore, we will use present tense. So, singular and present tense, we only have one answer, which is number 1, is. Alright, moving on, let's take a look at question 3. Timothy did not have dash cash left to pay the bills, as he had impulsively spent the bulk of his salary on the expensive watch. Now, this is a determiner kind of question. What are determiners? Well, basically determiners tell you the quantity of certain subjects of the sentence. The next thing that we observe is cash. The word cash here is uncountable. You can't count cash. Okay, so you can see that is impulsively spent, which means that he has a very low quantity of cash left. So our answer here would be he did not have much cash left. Okay, so I need to look at the totality of the sentence, which means all these 5 words. This is a very straightforward question. Okay, now let's take a look at the other options. Little is uncountable and of low quantity. He put in little effort in revising for the exam, so he failed the exam. Okay, none here means 0. None of the boys participated in the sports day yesterday. Much, we already talked about, and several here is countable. Several boys played in the football match on Friday. Now, if we change this to another subject, for example, number of notes. Okay, your notes are your $5, $2 that notes, right? So if I say Timothy did not have dash number of notes left to pay the bills that it can be, he did not have or rather not number of notes, he did not notes. Okay, he did not have many notes left. Okay, because this is countable. Or if I change this to coins, you know, have many coins left, also possible. Alright, so I hope everybody is aware that your whether it's a countable or uncountable subject makes a very big difference. Alright. Now let's move on further to question 4. Now the question reads, if we dash you were going to be late, we would have left the house earlier. So the first thing that we observe is this is a tenses question. The first keyword that we have is would left the house. Okay, would here is in past tense. And now we observe that this blank here, this is action number 1. And we have action number 2 at the back. So when we have 2 different actions at 2 different time periods, I will always draw my timeline. I'll start with my writing the different tenses: present, past, and participle. Next, I will actually identify which time period did corresponds to which action. So you can see that left the house is here. Now we are saying that the knowledge of being late is in the participle form. Alright. So when you observe, this is where we are now and what we are interested in, you would zoom in on your past perfect tense. Okay, and the answer here would be number 3. Because when we use past perfect, we are trying to show everyone that one action occurred before second action took place. Alright. Now looking at the other 2 options. No, this is present tense and plural. Now known here is in the participle form. Alright, but why don't we choose this? It's because the participle form is just a form, it's not a tense. Okay, what we are interested in is the past perfect tense. So maybe I should not put this as participle, I should put this as past perfect. Okay, so maybe this will be clearer for everybody. Now, were knowing, number 4. This is in the past continuous tense. Which means my action was still continuing. Sometime in the past. So for example, the boys were hiking at 6 a.m. this morning when it started raining. So we are looking at how this particular action took place in the past before a second action occurred. Alright? So I just give everybody some time to take in the information first. Let me drink some water before we move on. Okay, if anybody has any questions, do feel free to ask me in the chat, alright? If there are no further questions, let's take a look at question 5. Janice has been awarded the Role Model Award for 4 years in a row. Everyone is confident she will make a good prefect this year. For this question, we're interested in conjunctions. Conjunctions are basically your words that link different pieces of information in a sentence together. Now, we observe two things, right? The first one is everybody is confident that she will make a good prefect. And the reason for everyone's confidence is stated above. She's been awarded the Role Model Award for 4 years. So this is your reason. As such, we're trying to join the reason and a particular outcome. And the closest answer is number 1, since. Okay, because this shows reason and outcome. Hence, here is used to show consequence. The student was late for the exam. Hence, he did not have the full duration to finish his paper. Despite and although, these two show contrast. But when you use despite, it needs to be followed by a noun or pronoun. Okay, while although is followed by a clause, which basically means a verb plus noun. Okay, let me give you example sentences. So, despite being ill, Ali came to school today. Okay, this is your noun. But if you use although, it be although Ali is sick today, he came to school. Can you see? Ali is over here is my subject. Sick is the verb. You here is the noun. Okay? So I hope everybody is very clear, especially for option 3 and 4, because they are very, very commonly tested MCQ grammar questions. And your goal is to identify, using this criteria, which one would make sense for the sentence. Alright? Just give everybody some time to take in the information for this question before we move on. no further questions, let's move on further. Now looking at question 6. Winning the basketball championship dash Sam and his team's goal next year. Okay, now first thing is winning. This is just one action. As such, we'll consider this to be singular. Next, we observe next year, which is a future time frame. So we'll call this a future event, and therefore it's present tense. So you can see the options again, they are subject verb agreement. There is a subject verb agreement question. Okay, so singular and present tense, I only have one option, is. It's a very straightforward giveaway question once again. So I hope everybody is clear on how to identify them. I will not delve too much in this question, so let's move on to question 7. There is a shortage dash eggs this year owing to the bird flu. So this question over here tests you on prepositions. And the first thing we observe is the shortage. And what's the shortage? It tells you eggs. So you can see that there's a relationship between these two subjects, right? Now looking at the options, the first one is in. In shows position. The child is in the car. The soft toy is in the cupboard. Of shows a relationship between two subjects. He is the mother of Ali. With here is used to show complementary items. I am going with my brother to Universal Studios tomorrow. So it means that two of you are doing the same action. From shows some sort of sauce. I bought the chicken rice from the famous hawker center. Okay, so because we are looking at a shortage, and it further elaborates that the shortage is only in a particular type of food, which is eggs, our answer will be number 2, off. Okay. I would say preposition questions are not really difficult. The only time when it is more challenging is when we are looking at the preposition of a phrasal verb. Okay, but usually those kind of questions are quite rare. So what happens, they, for example, tell you pull, then over here it can be out, pull away, pull up, pull over. Then there is some kind of context, then you're supposed to choose the correct one. So actually this, in its purest form, actually is a vocab question. Okay, but they can still test it under grammar. And usually this is a differentiating question between AL1 students and AL2 students. Okay, so just hope everybody is aware and be careful about this. Alright, let's move on to question 8. The reporter interviewed the artist. Their sculpture won the first prize at the National Art Competition. Okay, this question tests you on relative pronouns. Okay, it's not a brand new question. We have encountered this before. Okay, and there are a few things that we observe. The first one is the artist, and we have the sculpture. So the sculpture here is owned by artists. Okay. Now looking at the options, the first one is who. Who here is in the subject form. Which is used for non-humans. Whom is used in the object form. And whose is in the possessive form. Okay, so for this question, you can see that there's some ownership of something, which is your sculpture, by artist. So we will use number 4 here. Okay, whose. Now I will just give you an example sentence to illustrate option 1 and 3. Okay, first one. The policeman whom we caught is here. So you can see, caught is my verb. Who caught the police? We. So this we is engaging in this verb, and therefore we here is the subject. And who is the one who received the call? The policeman. So the policeman here is the object of the sentence. Alright? Now, looking at the second sentence, the boy who won the contest is my brother. So you can see, one over here is a verb. It's your action word, right? Now, you can see that the boy over here is my subject. And therefore, if you want to replace the subject, we will use who. And if you want to replace the object, we will use whom. Now, the which option is very, very straightforward. If we change this to a non-human, then we will use which. Okay? Over here, we don't have any face reviews, okay? We are doing teaching. Now, moving on to question 9. Based on his team's poor performance this year, the soccer coach knows that he should not dash too much for next year's match. So over here, we are looking at tenses. The first thing that we observe is knows. This is already verb number 1. And this second blank here is verb number 2. Alright? So when we have two verbs in a sentence, we need to use the verbs of perception rule. So this rule means that when I have two verbs, the second verb needs to be in the base form. That is present and plural. So looking at the option, there's only one option, which is number 1. Now let's look at the other options to understand when to use them. Expects is for present and singular. Expected is past tense, and expecting is continuous. That means the action is ongoing as we talk. Okay. The verbs of possession question is very, very clear cut when you have two verbs. Once you know that there's an action word here and you are filling in a blank, you will always zoom in on the base form. This is a common, and you need to be very, very familiar with such questions. We don't have time to waste to think about these kind of questions. Okay. Now, last grammar question is number 10. The Good Samaritan rushed forward to help when he heard the elderly lady dash for help. Now, this question is slightly more challenging. Okay, because you can see that he heard, but over here there is no base form. Right? Heard here is a verb. And over here is the second verb again. Okay, so in this case, if there is no base form option, then we need to ask ourselves whether the action is ongoing in the past when the second action took place. Okay, so in this case here, you can see that as the Samaritan was rushing forward to help, this action was ongoing. This action was taking place. The second action here, calling for help, this action was ongoing as as the first action took place, and both actions happened in the past. Alright, so in this case here, we'll say we heard the elderly lady calling for help, because we need a continuous form to show ongoing action. Now let's take a look at the other options. Calls here is present tense and singular, while called is past tense. Lastly, has called here is in the past perfect tense. Sorry, not has, had. Okay? Which means that one action occurred before second action took place. Alright? With that, we have come to the end of this grammar section. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information for these 5 questions. And if you need help or you need me to explain further any of the questions, do sound out to me. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's move on to our next few questions on vocabulary. Okay, moving on to question 11. It tests you on these words. Human activities such as deforestation and dash on natural habitats have driven wild animals into the urban areas. Okay, so the first thing that we observe is deforestation. Deforestation means that you're cutting down trees and you're trying to destroy the habitat, the natural habitat of your animals in the forest for human activities like mining or urbanization. That means you're trying to build houses, right? Therefore, you can see when they deforest, is affecting the natural habitat, is like invading into their space. Alright. As such, looking at our options, let's take a look. The first one is insights. insights, that means you are trying to gain an deeper understanding of something. Right? So for example, when I go to a talk, I ask questions to gain a deeper insights, right, into maybe a certain job. Limitation here means that it's something that controls or reduces something. For example, there's a limitation of time. That means because I don't have sufficient time, I'm unable to maybe do something. All right. Thirdly is the word restriction, which means that there is a limiting factor or condition. For example, there is a restriction on vehicles in a particular street at night. Maybe because the country or Singapore wants to have a car light society. That means we do walking, we don't drive. Right? Lastly is encroach, which means you intrude into a person's space. And usually this space over here is a place where they have the right to live. So in this case, when we talk about natural habitats, actually is a particular area where your, in this case is your animals, right, can live. There are trees there for them to use to build their nest, etc. And what is happening is humans are trying to cut it down and chase the animals out of the forest. So in this case here, our answer will be number 4, when you encroach. Alright. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at question 12. Not wanting to disrupt the speech by the guest of honor, Sheila left the auditorium dash by the side door. Okay, so the idea is you don't want to disrupt the speech. That means you're trying to do something in a very, I'll say, quiet and a very in a manner that doesn't attract attention. Why? So that you can the other audience can focus on the speech given by the person. Okay, so looking at the options, the first one is visibly. Visibly means in a way that can be noticed. So it's like can be seen very clearly. Okay, next one is obviously. Obvious means that something is easily understood. Discreetly or discreet means you're trying to avoid, that means you're doing something carefully. And this is to avoid embarrassment. Okay, and lastly, when you do something boisterously, which means that you are very noisy. Okay, so in this case here, because you don't want to attract attention and perhaps you don't want to feel embarrassed, the closest answer we have is number 3, discreetly. Okay. moving on. Let's take a look at question 13. Although Ming had a heavy lunch, he could not dash eating another big slice of chocolate cake for dessert. Okay, so the first thing that we observe is the word although, because this shows a contrast. Next, we observe heavy lunch. So you will expect Ming to be like maybe very full, have appetite because he already had a heavy lunch, right? But no, you can see that he had to eat a big slice of chocolate cake, which is something he had to do. Something he cannot say no to, right? Okay, so with that in mind, let's take a look at the options. The first one is deny. Deny means that you refuse to admit the truth. Next one is resist, which means that you refrain from doing something. Ignore here means that you refuse to take notice. Okay, and cancel means that you announce a planned event will not happen. Right? So in this case here, he had to do something, right? It means that he cannot stop himself from doing something. So the closest option is number 2. Now moving on to question 14 now. When I think it is a bad idea to dash these complicated issues for discussion when everyone is so busy and tired. Okay, so the keyword that we need to talk about is discussion, right? So how do you start a discussion? Somebody has to mention something. After you mention something, then you can start discussion or start discussing, right? So we're looking at the phrasal verb to replace the idea of mentioning something. Alright? So the first thing we observe here is bring up. Bring up means you talk about particular subject. Next, when you bring off, it means that you succeed in doing something difficult. Okay. Thirdly, bring along means that you bring something with you. So it's not, for example, you bring along your textbook when you go to the library so that you can study. So we are going somewhere and you just take something with you on your journey there. Lastly, bring about means cause something to happen. For example, after the counseling session, it brought about positive change in the bully's behavior. Okay, so for this case here, we are looking at how you mention something, which is number 1. You talk about a particular subject. Okay. Lastly, we have question 15. Unlike her brother, who is defiant and believes that rules are meant to be broken, Yu Ming is a dash girl. Okay, first thing, unlike, this shows contrast. Next, we observe believes rules are meant to be broken. So this is the characteristic. Okay, and we are with the word with the contrasting word here. It means that Yu Ming is someone who does not break rules. Okay. So looking at the options, the first word is brush. Brush means someone is very rude and noisy. Next, when you talk about someone being carefree, it means that you are free from anxiety. Next, compliant means that you follow rules. And boisterous means that you are very noisy and energetic. Alright? So in this case here, when she does not break the rules, it means that she is compliant. Number 3. Alright? With that, we have come to the end of this vocabulary section. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information first. If you need me to zoom in on any of the sections or questions, please sound out. Alright. If there are no further questions, we shall move on soon. Okay, let's take a look at our vocabulary close now. So what we're going to do is as follows. I'll read through the text with you and we'll understand the meanings of the underlined words. Once we are done, we'll move on to our questions and choose the correct option. Alright? Now, malware, short for malicious software, refers to any intrusive software developed by cybercriminals. The purpose is to infect computers or devices. Now, the word infect here means they actually affect something with disease. Okay, so for this case here, we're looking at the computer disease, not the like the COVID, that kind of virus. Okay, and the computer disease will cause files to be deleted, personal information to be stolen, or to spy on people. So malware is often downloaded from malicious websites created to serve the purpose of cyber criminals with bad intentions. Malicious means that you intend to cause harm. Okay, and children who visit these websites might inevitably download malware or trying to install games or apps on their devices. Hello, who's all this? Hey, Maomi, good afternoon. Okay, so inadvertently means that you do something accidentally. Or you could say is without intention. That means you are not trying to purposely, download the virus. To protect against malware, parents can restrict their children's access to the internet. They can also ensure that children seek permission before downloading files from verified sources. Okay, the first thing is can restrict. So restrict here means put a limit or keep under control. Okay, and seek permission. Children should seek permission before downloading files from verified sources. So the word verify here means that you're trying to make sure something is true. So in this case, we can say that something is legitimate, right? A source that is doesn't have virus. Okay, and everyone should also install antivirus software. Yeah, and that will be the whole text. Are there any questions? If not, let's move on to the options. So the first one that we have is infect, right? So looking at the options that we have, the first one is affect. So the word affect here means that you have an effect. That means there is some kind of effect or impact on something. Next one is effect. Effect means that there is a consequence or result because of a certain action. Distort means that you twist out of shape. While destroy means that you end the existence of something. So for example, the construction worker destroy the building. That means the building will no longer be present. They maybe use the equipment to knock the whole building down. Okay. So you can see we are looking at how the computer is infected with the virus. So actually the closest option that we have actually is affect, because there is that kind of impact. So in this case here is a negative impact. Hello, we have our friend, our usual friend again, Lo Tua Ho. Yeah, good afternoon. Okay, so as in this case here, our answer will be number 1, affect. Now looking at question 17 now, malicious means that you have that kind of intention to cause harm. So the first one is benign, right? So this means something is gentle and kind. So something is not of a threat, not of doesn't have harmful intentions. Next one is hostile, which means that you have a feeling of opposition or dislike. It means you are trying to be against something or someone. Thirdly, harmful means that you cause harm. So that someone may cause, in this case, the harm is maybe the computer is affected by virus. Lastly is the word believable, which means something is possible or can be true. Alright. So back to our question, when we talk about the keyword is harm, the closest answer that we have is number 3, harmful. Okay, because of this. Okay, question 18 now. When we talk about inadvertently, it means means something is done accidentally or without intention. Okay, so in this case here, the first word is hastily, which means that there is excessive speed or urgency. Next is deliberately. Deliberate means that there's a conscious and intentional effort. It means you plan for something to happen. Accidentally means by chance or by mistake. Well, unfortunately means that something is sad or has a bad effect. So for example, unfortunately it rained and we are unable to play soccer today. Something that is bad happened. Alright, so in this case here, when something is inadvertent, you done something without that kind of intention, the closest answer is number 3, accidentally, by mistake or by chance. Alright. Okay, question 19. Restrict. Restrict means you put some kind of limit. You keep the children's use of the internet under control. Alright. So looking at the options, the first one is you try to limit. So limit means that you're trying to show that there's a greatest level or numbers that something is possible. So for example, if you try to limit like your children's smartphone usage, that means the maximum number maybe is like half an hour on the phone. Okay. Next one is object, which means that you're trying to oppose something. If you object, for example, somebody for doing something, it means that you say no, he should not be doing this. I do not agree. Thirdly, we have the word impose, which means that you force an unwelcome decision. On somebody. So for example, the teacher imposed maybe detention for the bully. So probably the bully doesn't like staying back after school, but the teacher forced this decision on the bully so that he can learn a lesson, right? Lastly is the word monitor, which means that you observe and check the progress of something. Okay, so back to this question here that tests you on the word restrict. The closest answer that we have is 2. Number 1, limit. Okay, because we are looking at that threshold. So a certain number, there's kind of certain level where people can do things. So in this case here is the kind of level the children can download things from the internet. Now let's take a look at our last question. Verified. Verified means something, you are making sure that the source, something is true, something is legitimate. Okay, so first one is followable. So followable here means someone is capable of making mistakes. Popular means someone is being liked by many people. Dubious means not something is not completely true or trusted. While established means that something is respected as it exists for a long time. Okay, so in this case here, we're looking at the word verified, which means you're looking at some source or something that is true, something that people would agree on or upon, right? So looking at the options, the closest option we have is number 4. Okay, because it's respected. People say, okay, they know they have some kind of trust in it because it's something that it's true, right? Oh. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, we have, who's this? Prata. Oh, hello. A very interesting name out there. All right, so with that, we'll come to the end of this vocabulary close. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here first before we move on to our second section. All right. If there are no further questions, let's take a look at our section B. Okay, we look at our grammar clues first. So it reads, Hwa Chong is a renowned Singaporean artist who brings out streets to life with his vibrant murals. Dash of his murals narrates tales of Singapore's rich cultural history and heritage. Okay, so for this question here, we observe that the singular form is being used, narrates. Okay, this is singular. So this word here must start with E. Every, each, So in this case, we only have one answer each. Okay, so please be very careful because this is singular form. With his meticulous strokes, dash keen eye for detail. So you can see these two are very similar ideas. They are positive traits of an artist, right? So it will be N. It transforms ordinary worlds, dash captivating and storytelling canvases. So we can see when you transform, it means that you are trying to make a 180-degree turn for something. So it will be transform ordinary walls, then we will say into the canvas, because this is like your before and after kind of situation. Okay, so Ib's murals not only adorn the streets but also serve as his interpretations, dash Singapore's past, present and future. So when you interpret something, you can see that it's further elaborated here. Alright, so we'll use a preposition for question 32, and it will be interpretation of. Alright, dash depicting scenes of traditional traits like street hawkers and laundry ladies to showcasing iconic landmarks and everyday life. So you can see there's the word to here. So we're trying to show a range of artwork. Okay, so the question, or rather the examiner is asking you, how do you use this conjunction to tell people in a sentence that, you know, they have a lot of different scenes. So the word to here needs to go with the word from. So it'll be from traditional traits to iconic landmarks. Okay. So Ib's art encapsulates dash essence of Singapore identity. So you can see this Singaporean identity is a very distinct and is an individual subject. So it will be encapsulates the essence of the identity. Okay, so beyond mere aesthetic, its murals evoke their sense of nostalgia and belonging among locals. So you can see we are just trying to evoke, and is over here is singular, one kind of feeling, right? So we'll say evoke a sense of nostalgia and belonging among locals, dash fascinating and delighting visitors from around the world. So you can see the nostalgia and belonging, these feelings are being evoked, or that means they are being felt at the same time when visitors around the world are like in awe, like wow, they have such an artwork, right? So you want to show these concurrent actions. Okay, so Singaporeans, they feel something, the visitors also can feel a separate action. We will say wow. We will use the word wow, okay, because of the concurrent activities. His dedication to preserving and sharing Singapore's cultural legacy, dash art, has earned him widespread acclaim and admiration. Okay. Okay, the idea is for this question 37 here, you can see the cultural legacy. So how is it being shown? What is the mode? The mode of trying to showcase the cultural legacy is art. So in order to show this method, right, we'll say through. So its murals serve as more than just visual treats, fostering a deeper connection dash people and their surroundings. So you can see this deeper connection, that means there are two subjects, right? So people and the surroundings, right? I'll just draw a picture and how they are, there's that kind of connection, right? The dotted line. And you take note, we are looking at some kind of preposition here, and there's the word and. So it will mean that we are looking at the word between and. Okay, so you need to be very careful. We all know it's a preposition, but which preposition? You need to look at this kind of words to join. See, if you look at, if I compare question 38 here with question 33, from to, from needs to go with to, between needs to go with and. Okay, these are the two most common ones. And for our synthesis and transformation, prefer needs to go with to. Okay, all these you need to be very clear. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in information for our grammar close here before we move on to other questions. Right. If there are no further questions, let's move on to our editing. Dash or civet coffee is considered an exotic and expensive drink, a unique and intriguing beverage. Okay, intriguing is spelled this way. That means something is very interesting. Okay? It is brewed from coffee beans extracted from the feces of the Asian palm civet, a small animal native Southeast Asia. So you can see native. We are looking at this is a particular place where it is native. So you say native to a particular place. The civets selectively eat ripe coffee cherries, digesting the fruity pulp, while leaving the coffee beans intact. These then dash through the civets digestion system, that supposedly enhances their flavor. Okay, so over here it's, you can see these. This is plural, so it will always be pass. Alright. Next, we're looking at the digestive system here, and the digestive system can do this. They enhance flavor, right? So you'll say that, or which supposedly enhance the flavor. Okay, by reducing bitterness and acidity while imparting a unique aromatic sense. Aromatic is spelled this way. After being excreted, the beans are collected, washed, and then roasted to perfection. So the idea is thoroughly. Okay? I'm not really sure, I think it's a spelling error here. Despite its production method unusual. Okay, this is quite a straightforward, so I'll say it's a giveaway. Okay, this particular drink and enthusiasts love its flavor. It is noticeably not bitter, and has a complex flavor that is smooth, earthy, and sweet. Okay, so noticeably is spelled this way. Noticeably. Okay, with dash hint of chocolate. So you can see this hint here is singular, but we observe that it is this hint of chocolate is not mentioned at the start of the text, not mentioned before. Okay, as such, we would say to show it's singular. We only use the, right? The is used when we are looking at a main subject of a sentence or a text. So probably it will be mentioned like multiple times. So due to the dash of kopi luwak, several plantation farms raise palm civets, sometimes in unfavorable conditions. Okay, popular here is adjective. We're not looking at describing this drink. We are looking at this whole trend where people are like very, very crazy about the drink. So we will change this word form to a noun from adjective, right? So it will be popularity. Okay, so just take note. You can see popular and the root word remains when you are trying to change it. That's the rule of thumb. Okay, unfavorable here is clearly a spelling error. Alright, so the controversy surrounds the production, with some producers dash the civets in cram cages. So you can see this is it should be in a continuous form, because this is an ongoing action. Okay, so it will be the producers are confining. As such, that will be our answer for question 50. Okay, with that, we've come to the end of this editing passage. I'll just give everybody some time to take in the information first before we move on. before we end this lesson today, I'd just like to raise everyone's awareness to the type of questions that can be tested for editing. So namely, they are your spelling errors, your grammar questions, and your word form questions. Alright? Spelling, just take note. Okay, so fulfill, this is your root word, right? The base form. Single L, but if you go for a continuous form, is always double of the last letter. And when it's fulfillment, you can see your root word is here. Therefore, it's just the same as your base form. Now for your grammar, I'm not too worried. So usually the difficult ones are your prepositions and conjunctions. Okay, so you need to know when to use your on, over, off, under, between, yada yada. Okay, conjunctions are your linking words. Despite and although usually are the two more challenging ones. You know, some students get confused when to use which one. But as we have discussed extensively during our grammar lessons, so I wouldn't repeat myself now. Okay, when the time comes, I'll repeat again. Usually these are the two more common ones. And lastly, word form here challenges you to change from an adjective to a noun, verb to a noun. Okay, so for example, he was naughty. There will be naughtiness. Okay, verb, he was behaving very badly. It will be changed to behavior. Okay, so these are the kind of questions that can be tested. Okay, usually the end case is always a noun. Okay, usually they'll give you verb, they'll give you adjectives. Okay, but the rule of thumb is your root word needs to be the same. Alright? If not, we have come to the end of this session. If you like to continue learning English with me, do join me later. 4:45 p.m. We'll be looking at more P6 papers and also finish up this paper as well. Okay? If not, I'll see everybody in a bit. Bye-bye.